some people, usually people file into this shortly. We got some more people coming in right now. Aubrey has been very generous with his time today, so he's going to hang out with us until 1 o'clock. And my goal for today is, as we've been doing for the last maybe 5 or 6 months, inviting one of the top producers in the market center in, and really just giving them an opportunity to meet you guys and for you guys to meet them. And what we generally talk about is a little bit of background so we can kind of understand, how you function kind of outside of the real estate world. And then I would love to hear more about your journey, right? How did you find real estate? How did you build your success? Love to hear more about your habits and your what inspires you. You, like all of us, have encountered adversity in your life, and we want to give you the forum to share how you've overcome stuff like that. I mean, obviously you don't have to go into any detail, but when we have bad days, right? What pulls you through? And then of course advice, right? Most of the people in this group right here are relatively new to the business, and they're faced with bold, ignite, this class, that class, 36, 12, 3, this session with Aubrey, this session with me, and it's a lot, right? And we work hard every day on the leadership team to kind of try to make it simple for people, but it's still a struggle, right? So I'd love for you to share some of your advice with respect to that. And obviously, you've been very successful in a number of different ventures, from being a solo agent to then a team leader or team owner, then a team leader, an operating partner. You're what's the word they use? Keller celebrity, if you will, celebrity. And
Celebrity.
celebrity. So I want you to share some of your journeys and your interactions with KWRI. And if we can fit it all into an hour, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, we'll invite you back. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good. I think we can do it in a lot less than an hour and hopefully spend a lot of the time answering questions and helping the people that are on the call.
Beautiful. So one thing Aubrey offered at the beginning, just so you know, and I might be able to convince him to lower the number, but Aubrey and I are high school classmates. And if anyone takes 5 listings between now and the end of the year, I will show you his sophomore year picture, which is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it is not what you expect.
No,
So.
it is not.
Mhm.
All right, Aubrey, the floor is yours, sir. Talk to us about what happened pre real estate. How did you find real estate?
Well, first off, thanks for having me on the call. I'm excited to see all of these familiar faces. A few of you, I'd love to see you take yourself off the no see button there on there we go. There's who is that? Just saw a couple of Donna's there. Yeah, hey Donna, good to see you. Hey Jenny, I see you. I know. Yeah, pretty much everybody. Hey. All right, well, cool. So how did all this start years ago? Talking about coming out of college.
Yeah. What did you do first?
Yeah. So in a little bit about me, in college, I was a manager for a valet parking company called AmeriPark. And they do, a lot of the parking. I think they still do for a lot of the Buckhead, restaurants, that whole group down there. So I did that through college. I also am a drummer. And that's why the picture that Bill has would probably be something you wouldn't expect. Uh, so I played music. I was playing out 3 or 4 nights a week, all through college, and it was fun. Getting paid to do that, getting free dinner, and playing music and people singing along. It was fun. So, but out of college, I stayed with AmeriPark for a little while, managing a few lots for them, and I got recruited to go to a company called ProMove. Do any of you know what ProMove is? Yeah. Okay. I think Ebony said yeah. So it's essentially it's real estate for apartment complexes. Like they have these yellow buildings and it says like free rent, and people would walk in. They say, I need a 2-bedroom apartment for about $1,200 a month in this area. What is there? And I'd run a search, right? And I'd find which apartments there are. And then the people I give them these little sheets, kind of like a buyer full report, right? They would go to the sheets, and when they get to the apartment complex, the apartment complex would say, "How'd you find out about our apartment?" And they'd say, "Aubrey at ProMove." you guys have seen like finder fees, referral fees at apartment complexes. It's maybe $500 or $800 or whatever it is. I would get half of that, right? So there were people there that were making six figures, and coming out of college, I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I'll do that. So I was recruited by the owner, and about 2 months later, Robert Doyle, who's a one of the founding members at another KW office, the one in Alpharetta, longtime family friend, he's like, I think you'd be really good in real estate. You should come get into real estate. And for those of you that don't know, Robert, he's an interesting guy, that Robert Doyle. He has hair about like this big. My wife calls him Willy Wonka because he's got like such a cool, creative personality. He's a guitarist. And I remember being 7 years old, sitting on the floor in his basement, his parents' house at Willow Springs, while he and my dad were having band practice. That's how I got Robert Doyle. And that's how I got into drums. I sat behind the drummer and then would jump in and start playing. So that's my background. So into real estate, it was Robert Doyle. And he was like, I think you'd be great at this. I was like, all right, I'll give it a year. I'll give it 100% for a year. And year one sold 15 houses, year two, 22, year three, 35, year four, I think it was 41 or 42. And then years like 5, 6, and 7, I was kind of stuck at that like 50 to 60 units a year range as an individual agent. And if you guys do some math, like in today's area, what's the average price point in Metro Atlanta?
I'll let you guys answer unless no one.
350.
Yeah, mid threes. Yes, I mean that today's money, that would be like about $10,000 per commission check. So like year one, 15 sales, that'd be 150 grand. Year two, 20 something, that'd be 200 something grand. Year three, 300 something grand, 400 something grand, and then stuck at about 500. What I can tell you though is my group, it was referral based. They were all first time buyers, so it wasn't 300 something $1,000 properties. It was 200 something $1,000 properties, at best, some 100 something $1,000 properties, some $80,000 properties, right? However, those relationships have lasted for a lifetime. You help somebody achieve the dream of home ownership, you're their realtor for life. Don't discount, them just because of their price range. It's not about that. It's about doing the right thing and helping somebody. And when you do a great job, they'll introduce you to people they know. So I'll give you one quick example. My first sale, 115 Trammell Court, Daryl and Sandra Neff. I can't tell you who's number 2, 5, 10, or 20, right? But I can tell you number one, first one. They called me a year after closing, and they said, we're moving. We got to go to Texas, got a job transfer. We want to rent our house out. Will you find the tenant? And most agents are like, rentals. I'm not messing with that. And I said, let me get you in touch with somebody that does rentals. And they said, Aubrey, we really trust you. Can you just find the tenant? We'll manage it. Can you just find him? So I said, sure. That tenant moved in 2 years later, called me, and she said, I want to buy a house. So I thought, probably a 200 something $1,000 house, first time buyer. Nope. She said, my parents are paying for it, and we want to buy a $650,000 house with cash. I was like, wow. Okay. And then she said, also, I went and met her, and I met her with her parents. Her parents lived in Country Club of the South. That's where we met. And her parents, while I'm there, say, hey, we're really impressed. We would actually, we're considering selling our house as well. Would you be willing to list our house? I was like, yes. $1.8 million property. They went and bought a $1.9 million property off Providence Road. So that was like $4.5 million worth of real estate from a rental that I didn't want to take. So don't discount the relationships you have with people. Just help people. A lot of this other stuff will work out. So that kind of got me to, I told you about year 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Guys, what happened in 2008?
The market started to be horrible.
Yeah, that was when things crashed, right? 06, 07, oh man, easy, right? Market was on fire. 8, 9, 10, the market, I mean, way worse than we had even, over 50% of the sales were foreclosures, right? So how did my sales go up? What do you think? From 09, 2010, how did they go up every year?
You sold more houses.
How? If the people you're meeting with can't sell, they don't have the equity in the home, how did I sell more houses?
because more people trusted you. More people in the marketplace knew who you were.
Yes, and I pivoted. I learned. Like Wayne Gretzky talks about. Why were you the greatest? I'm not a hockey guy. I just love this answer. People ask him why was he such a great hockey player, and he says I went where the puck was going, not where it's at. So what did that mean? I went and got short sale certified. I got real estate owned certified. You'll get tears of joy when you save somebody from foreclosure. They will hug you. They will love you for it. You save them from foreclosure. It's very similar to when you help somebody buy their first house. You get tears of joy then as well. So you help somebody avoid foreclosure, do a short sale, they will love you for it. So I did those. I did bank owned properties. I helped a lot of investors, during that time. And if you haven't been there, I know we actually have some good producers here on the Zoom. When you get to 50 sales a year as an individual is a lot. Like that is a lot. That's working a whole lot of hours. And at the time, that was right when we were having our first baby. And I said, we have 18 summers with our kids, 18 summers, and then they're gone. They'll forget who made the dinner. Was it, Zaxby's or Longhorn Steakhouse, but they won't forget who sat there and ate it with them. It's those moments. And I said, I don't want to miss those moments. I want to be there at Donuts for Dad with my kids. I want to be there to celebrate those wonderful birthdays. They only turned 2 once. They only turned 3 once. So I said, I need leverage. So I hired an admin. And about 2 months later, an agent came to me and she said, hey, I've been struggling at another company for 2 years. You're a family friend. Can you take me under your wing? Her name was Dana Kinney. And I did. I took her under my wing. I literally handed her 42 sales, 42 her first year. So I went from stuck at like 50 something units a year to 90 something units in 1 year. And this was referral based business. I didn't have a database of 5,000 people. I had 40 people my first year, 60 people my second year. When I got to a point where I was consistently getting over 100 warm referrals a year, all I focused on was 150 people. My best people were where they would give me a hug at the grocery store if I saw them. They know my wife. They know if I have kids. So I'm encouraging you when you're hearing this story, like who are your top 150? Who are your people that if you poured into them on a consistent basis would want to tell other people about you? Guys, I never picked up the phone and said, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I didn't do that. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying I didn't. I did it in another way. Did I still touch base with them? Yes, right? Of course. I just did it in a way that was very powerful, in a way that they wanted to tell they almost would feel guilty if they didn't use me, right? So, and we can get to examples and things. So got to like 2011, 12, 13, had a very small team doing about 100 units a year. And I said, I kind of like this leverage thing where I'm not having to go on the appointments anymore. They're having a great life, making, having the income that's changed their world. Dana she was stuck in a small house. Kids were sharing a bedroom. They were struggling financially. And she lets me share the story. And she then paid off all her debt, bought a bigger home. Kids got their own rooms, were able to buy the car she wanted with cash, right? And live that life. And it was, if you haven't helped somebody else achieve their goals, I'm telling you, it is one of the most rewarding things you can do. So I love flipping properties. So I said, you know what? I like this leverage thing. And I like being able to flip my own homes. I don't have to argue about price point or what upgrades need to be done. I just do it. So I stepped out of production in about 2013, meaning still running the team, the production team, meeting with them consistently, building them up, helping them. I just started flipping homes. So from 2013 to 2016, I flipped 43 properties, 43 homes, and had a lot of fun doing it. And the office came to me in 2016. Do you guys know Melba Franklin? Yep. So she had come to me a few times and she said, I think I'm going to go ahead and share something with you guys that I haven't really shared openly before here in a second. We'll lead up to it. She's like, I think you'd be great in leadership. You teach here. You've been a top producer in the office for forever. You should be a team leader. I was like, yeah, I'm flipping homes. I'm having fun. Why would I want to be a team leader? And there came a point in time where she caught me at a very good point. I'm going to be very vulnerable here and share something that I've only shared. Some people in the office know, but not a lot. I don't mind sharing it because I hope that when you hear this story, no matter where you're at, you can start to believe that you can do what you want to do. If you look at any successful person in business, they have failures in their life. Something went wrong at some point. And yet it's only a failure when we choose to give up, when we choose to throw in the towel. Because if we don't throw in the towel, then what does that failure become if we don't give up?
Just a lesson, a
Yeah,
stepping
learning experience. That's right. Yeah,
stone.
learning experience. So when I was flipping properties, I did great. I mean, the average, I'd say profit per property, $30,000, $40,000, give or take, per home, did wonderful. Lost money on 2 homes, and there's a reason behind that. But here's what happened, and I don't even think Bill knows this. I was using my own money for a long time flipping the properties. I had a contractor come to me and said, "Hey, I want to partner with you and do this." And I was like, what might that look like? And the money he had was about the same as what I had. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna do twice the work and make the same amount of money. I was like, that doesn't really work. And he said, well, you get a discount, on some of the repairs. I'm like, yeah, a couple $1,000s here and there, but I'm working twice as hard. I'm like, no, I'm good. He came back later with a very large 7-figure sum. And I was like, okay, now that makes sense. Well, this was back like 2015, probably. I'd already been flipping for a few years, doing great. And I was like, awesome. Well, what he wanted, and this is what I would encourage you if you end up going down this route, we created an LLC. He was an owner, I was an owner. And what I did, the mistake I made that got me into a lot of trouble was I promised him a return of a certain percent every month, no matter what. Whether I was using the money or not, I had to pay that. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to what happened around 2015, but all of these big real estate investment trusts came to town, Blackstone Financial and all these other ones. They would go to I was buying homes first in the MLS, and then you couldn't find them anymore because they bought all those, and they paid, above list price for them. And I was like, okay, I'll go to the courthouse steps. So I bought a lot at the courthouse steps, whole lot, dozens of properties at the courthouse steps. Well, then I'll go to the courthouse steps with 7 figures of money to spend, right? A healthy 7-figure to buy 5, 10 properties or more and leave with nothing. Why? Because $200,000 house, they would pay 200 at the courthouse steps for it. I'm like, and I'd ask them, I was like, why are you paying 200 for this house? Like, you're not getting, it needs repairs. Like you're actually going in upside down on the property. Do you know what they said? They said it doesn't matter. They said it gives us the return and rental that we need for our investors. I'm like, that's a sound business model. Pay more on an asset than what it's worth. What happens if you have to sell it? You're probably in trouble. So, but needless to say, I was leaving. So I would go to the courthouse steps month after month, trying to buy 5 or 10 properties, leave with maybe 1, and still having to pay somebody a big 5-figure sum every single month. I'm sorry, 1, 2, yeah. 5-figure sum every single month, no matter what. Well, as you can imagine, I got upside down quickly, right? And I'm a pretty optimistic person. And I was like, you know what? I'll get it next month. Next month, I'll pick up 2 or 3 more, or 4 more, everything will work out. And that compounded over time and over time. So I ended up at a point where I was $300,000 in debt, $300,000 in debt, right? What do you think my quality of sleep was like? $300,000 in debt. What do you think my relationship was like with my wife, when we're having trouble paying our bills every month, right? And this is coming from killing it as an agent and being able to pay cash for whatever I want. So I had a decision to make. And the decision was either go back into real estate sales or do something different. So by the way, to square everything up with that investor, I sold my investment properties. I had my own rental properties that I had purchased before I ever even met him. The business agreement didn't say I'd have to repay him. I didn't have to. I could have said, sorry, our business went south. It is what it is, because he was involved as well. He knew what was going on. But I couldn't sleep at night if I did that. So I made the decision on my own to sell the rental properties that I had at that time to square him up. So all the equity I had, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I gave to him to make him square for what he gave me. Okay. But that still left me $300,000 in the hole. And that was when I had that decision. What do I want to do? Just so happened, Mama Melba walked down the hall and she said, hey, I've still been thinking about you. You'd be great in this role, And right then I was about to go back into sales again. I said, Melba, let's just sit down and talk about it. Let's see what that might look like. So I did. And guys, I'm telling you, that was the absolute best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I've gone from 300, I'm being really open with you guys and vulnerable. I've gone from $300,000 in debt, right? To not being able to, not being able to sleep at night, having, issues paying bills each month. So from $300,000 in debt to today, $500,000 in net worth with a passive income of more than $15,000 a month. So in 3.5 years. So I don't know where you're at in your journey right now. I don't know if you're 300, 400, $500,000 in debt. Gosh, I hope not. Right. But I just want to tell you, you can be anywhere you want to be in a few years, anywhere. How? When you have a big why, you have the ambition and drive to get there, and you're hyper focused on what you need to do every day. It's consistency on what you got to do. When you do those consistent things over time, everything else will work out. Everything.
So I think probably a lot of us, thank you for sharing that, by the way. I very much appreciate that. I knew some of that, but that's quite a story. Um, what are those couple things? I mean, I know we think we know, but I'd like for you to share, what do you think those big rocks are?
Yeah. So in the agent world, we need to decide where we want to arrive to first. Like, what's our destination? In other words, let's say you had a Ferrari, right? A fast, awesome handling car, and it's capable of some pretty amazing things. And yet you needed to go somewhere, but you didn't dictate where you're going. That fast car, as wonderful it is, would drive around and run out of gas. It would never arrive at the destination, as awesome as it is. And I want you to look at yourself as somebody that has so much potential inside of you, so much capability. You are that Ferrari, right? Or that beautiful cruise ship, but you got to have a destination on where you're going. So pick this destination on where you need to go, and then you can reverse engineer how to get there. I'll give you some examples of what those are, Bill, to answer your question. That you know, $300,000 in debt to 500,000 in net worth and $15,000 per month right now in passive income. That's not what I make. That's 15 in passive income. That's like if I stop doing what I do every day, right? That money still comes in. That's separate from the income that I have coming in from different places right now. The region called me. I'm a franchise owner. I own a Keller Williams franchise in Alabama. I'm Andy Peters in Alabama at a smaller scale. It's a smaller market center. I've got ownership in 2 offices in Alpharetta and in Roswell, and I have the opportunity to pour into people every day. And what I want for each of you is to be able to work because you want to, not because you have to. To be able to not have that stress in your life that I've had keeping me up at night. I want you guys to have this financial burden lifted off your shoulders and be able to do the things you want to do. Another thing that I share with you that I haven't shared with anybody else, you'll see my mom here every now and then helping out. I help my mom every month. She needs help. I'm able, because of the decisions I've made and what I've done over the past few years. My mom had me when she was 21 years. She had just turned 21, right? My parents struggled and fought over money all growing up. And I said, I never want that to be me. And yet I had that happen for a short period of time. And so I'm like, you know what? She gave up so much for me and helped me so much. I want to help her. So every month I help my mom, right? I've employed my brother. I've employed my sister. I've employed my brother-in-law. And money is good for the good it can do. Why would you do anything less than you're capable of? Like, what good could you do? If you are that Ferrari, that beautiful cruise ship, more people need to know about it. We're getting to the consistency and the habits here in a second. If when you do what you need to do and provide to the world and show up in the way that you need to, you become magnetic. People will come to you. So think about that for a minute. Pick your goals and your achievements. Like, I'm at 15 right now. My goal is 50 in passive income per month. Do I need 50? No. I could stop working today and never work again for the rest of my life. I do it because why would I hinder the opportunity to help other people? As I get that money, I'm going to be giving it away and providing opportunities for other people. What is that for you? Maybe your parents need help too. Maybe you want to put a kid through college. Maybe you have a special needs brother. Maybe whatever it is for you and you want to give back, be able to do that. So to get back to Bill's question, what are those activities we need to be doing every day? This business is not success. You've heard success is simple, not easy. Like what we need to do, the fundamentals, what Bill's holding you accountable for is not, it's not complicated. And we tend to overcomplicate things. When you want to have big success in your life, like what caused it, having a coach. If I was to tell you openly, why did this happen? It was having a coach. And not just having a coach, having an awesome coach pouring into me consistently. Do you know what he did every week? It wasn't, did you hit your numbers? It wasn't, why didn't you hit your numbers? It was, he knew my personal why. So have your why, whatever it is for you. And what he'd say to me is he'd say, Aubrey, I know, getting out of debt is important to you, and having that strong relationship with your wife and not, having those arguments over money and that stress over money is important to you. He's like, what happened this past week that got in the way of you doing the activities that you needed to do? And I tell him, and he'd say, is it still important to you to get that out of debt and create that passive income? I say, yes, it is. He said, well, what likely will get in the way this week of doing those activities? I tell him, he said, well, what can we do about it now to prevent that from happening? And every week he was tying it back to my big why every single week. And so it's, if you want big results, have a cadence of accountability tied with your big why. Right now I'm looking at, I've got, you guys can't see it. I can't turn my screen around, but I got a picture of an RV with my family and I standing in front of it. And we want to pay cash within 2 years for that 6-figure RV and go travel the country for a little while, right? Put the kids in the RV and go travel the country. That's my goal. And I look at it every single day and I have my goals written down and I'm saying, am I doing what I need today to make that happen? Right? That's my goal. So fundamentals, it's a contact sport. And there's so many ways to pour into people in a meaningful manner where they want to talk with you. So let's say your goal is $100,000 next year or 500,000 or whatever it is. The next question, first I would start with life by design. Is $100,000 enough for you to be able to do the things you want to do? What do you want to happen this year? Give me some examples of what you guys want to do over the next year. If 2021 is the best year it could be, what happens? What are you able to do?
Pay for IVF for my daughter.
Yeah. That gave me chills when you said that, Donna. IVF for your daughter, because that's not cheap, is it?
It's not, and I've already started, so I've made the commitment. Yeah. And I can't back out, and it's very important.
How is that going to positively impact their life?
Are you kidding me? I mean, imagine being someone who wants a child so bad and has tried for so long to have that opportunity to become a parent. I want that for her. I know what parenthood means to me. Being a parent means to me, and I want that for my daughter. I did it for my older daughter, and she was blessed with 2 twins, twin boys that are 2.5, and it's such a blessing. I want that for my younger daughter too.
Yeah, that's important to you. I can tell. I want that to happen as well. Who else was going to say something? I think I saw Ebony and a few others about to take themselves off mute.
Okay, this may seem really trivial, but I have never owned a new car. Every car that I have has been 10 and 15 years old. So I want to be selfish. I'm never selfish. I want to walk out of the dealership with an Infiniti QX80 2021, all cash.
I love it. And I do not think that's trivial. I think that's a great goal to be able to walk in there. How will that make you feel doing that?
Oh my gosh, it relieved like Ebony, you did this. Like that's like a unicorn in my world. Like to be able to purchase something that big with just cash and knowing that financially it didn't affect anything else. It's just like all the weight of and the fears of not thinking that I wouldn't get to this goal or wouldn't be successful. I've done it because I could have took $80,000, which what it costs to spend on anything, but I had an additional $80,000 to put towards that. So of course everything else around me is fine. So that would just mean like, Ebony, you hit your mark. You did what you came, you saw, and you conquered. I want to conquer.
Love that. I love that. All right, who else? Somebody give me another one. What's something you really want to do this year? Could be buy an investment property, you know, Ebony said buy a new car. It could be take a vacation with your family, pay for your vacation for the whole family. Or what is it for you? What's something you guys want to accomplish this year? Go ahead, Jenny. I think you're on mute. I see you on here twice. Both are muted. Oh, there you went off there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to head out. I've got to be somewhere in just about 10 minutes, but our daughter's college. She's at Auburn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Need I say more? Yeah.
Right. So here's what I encourage you guys. Take that list of things you want to do, you know, paying for IVF for your daughter, you know, buying the QX80, you know, paying for Auburn tuition, which is not cheap. Add those up on that Life by Design form. How many closings would it take to do that? Add back in taxes, and maybe that's an additional 8 closings. Okay. Then take, well, what are your personal expenses that you need to pay every single month or year? If you have 2 incomes in the household, then what do you need to contribute? Okay. So if there's 2 incomes in the household, maybe you need to contribute $36,000 per year. Well, that might be another 3 closings or 3 or 4 closings if you're getting 10 grand per commission check. Now we're up to, what is that? You know, 16, 17 closings. And then what about your business expenses? Well, you have a cap, you have marketing expenses, you have, you know, different, you're supposed to put some money back into different things. Like that all needs to happen as well. And you give this number at the bottom, and it's like, let's say it's 24 sales. Now, you know, the thing that would really make me sad is if we got to the end of the year and our goal was to make 150,000, and we get to the end of the year only to find out 150 wouldn't allow you to get the car or, you know, do the IVF or help out with tuition. That'd be heartbreaking. Well, wouldn't it be good to know now exactly how many closings we need to have in order to do all those things? Reverse engineer it. So if that goal is 24 sales, if that's what that form shows you is 24 sales, the next question is, how do we get them? And then what you can do is you say, well, there are lots of different ways to do real estate. Wouldn't you agree? So many different ways. So what would be, if we pick your 3 favorites? Is it sphere and referral? Is it farming? You know, is it open houses? Is it, you know, for sale by owners, expireds? Is it, you know, first time buyers? Is it luxury buyers? Is it small custom builders? Is it bank owned properties? Is it short sales? You know, what is it for you? VA, you know, what is it for you? Pick your levers, your 3 levers for business. Okay. And then you can back into, well, what do I need to do for each of those? Let's say that one of your levers is your database. And if your goal is to have 24 sales, let's say you want 12 of them to come from your database. Okay. Well, we know that a Met database, do you guys know what the ratio is? I know Bill does. It's 12 to 2, which is also 6 to 1. So if you need to sell 12 houses from your database, then multiply your database times 6. So 12 times 6 is what? 72?
Yep. We've been saying it's Gary's latest number I've heard is 16. 16 to 1.
Yeah. Yep. It's higher. It's gone up. Why do you think it's gone up? What do you think caused that?
There's more agents out there. There's more competition. I think that you have a lot of tech companies, iBuyer, Zillow, all these kind of things are getting into the mix. The relationships can be more difficult to maintain, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you nailed it. More agents, absolutely. And I think the bigger one there is the disintermediaries, the people that are jumping in between us and you and your clients, right? Who's the biggest one out there? Who does everybody have in their hand?
Zillow.
Yeah. Zillow sold, how many millions of leads was it last year, Bill?
I think this is 2 years ago, but they sold 185 million leads. And that year there was 5.3 million closings in America.
You hear that? So we're kidding ourselves if we don't think that that our clients, our sphere, our people are not looking at Zillow. Even if they're planning on calling Ebony, right? They may be saying, oh, we'll call Ebony, but they're on their phone. They're like, well, we'll just at least contact the agent and just ask some questions, right? And the problem is that doesn't go to usually the listing agent, it goes to the agent that paid the most for that zip code, right? And then that agent's like, and they're good at their scripts and dialogues, and all of a sudden they squeeze in between you and that client. You see what I mean? Hey, I can meet you at the house right now. Come on out, I'll meet you there. And they may be thinking they're gonna call Ebony, but then they meet that person there. And that person's like, hey, I've got 2 more around the corner. We should go see those too. And next thing you know, they squeezed in between you and your client. You see what I mean? So how do we stay in? That's why the ratio's gone up. And if it's 16-1, then take those 24 sales, multiply it times 16. That's close to 200, give or take, right? I'm not great with the quick math.
384.
There you go. That's how many contacts you need. So you have got to pour in them in a consistent manner. So then you can take those 12 transactions, and you know we have to touch base with them 36 times, 36 touch or more. What does that look like? Then craft out your plan, but break it down to be ridiculously simple. Meaning, how many contacts do you need to make per week total between the Mets, have not Mets, add those together. How many contacts do you need to make per week, and make the contacts? How many do you need to make per day? That number may be 2, it may be 5, whatever it is for you. And then you hang on your wall, 2 contacts a day equals the IVF for my daughter. 2 contacts a day equals the QX80 and that sense of accomplishment. 2 contacts per day equals me being able to pay for the Auburn tuition.
It's going to be a little bit more than 2 contacts, Ebony.
Yeah, it'll be. So, and your contact doesn't have to be, hey, you looking to sell? I'm in a listing contest. I need 5 more listings so I can see Aubrey's high school picture. It doesn't need to be that, right? Instead, it can be, hey, I passed by your neighbor the other day. I thought about you guys. I realized we haven't talked in a while. How have you been? What have you been up to? And they'll let them be open with you. And don't call thinking you're going to force them into making a sale. Just call to be a friend. And you can ask them, how are things going at the house? That doesn't mean necessarily that you are asking, are you looking to buy or sell? But if they are, they would say, well, it's funny you call. We're actually thinking about selling. They may say, man, we've realized that we need to do some remodeling. Do you know any good contractors? We need a good handyman. You say, yeah, actually I do. Let me get back with you. And if you don't have one, you say, you know what? Let me get one for you. We've got a great group of agents at our office. I'm going to ask and find out who is the best handyman that can help you. I'll get back to you shortly. Find something to help them with. When you're calling your database, find something to help them with. The other thing that I always did, if it's your database, I always had a quarterly event, some kind of a quarterly event. It could be a canned food drive, a coat drive, or it could be something like we were going to do a shred it event at the office where you can invite your clients, to spring cleaning, come shred some documents, throw away some stuff in the dumpster, that kind of thing. Pick some kind of an event you can do quarterly. Then your touches to them are inviting them to the event. Think about this for a second. Most agents are hesitant to call their database because they feel like they're bothering them. And if you call them every time and say, hey, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If that's the call every time, what eventually are they going to do when they see your number pop up on the screen?
Stop taking your calls.
Yeah. However, what if you're calling to say, hey, I've got this COVID-friendly Santa event going on. We have a Santa come in there. We hired a photographer. It's going to be outside, and everybody's got their time slots. Nobody's sitting on Santa's lap. But you should come out. Get the photos with your grandkids and take those, do your Christmas cards. I'd love to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. You should really come out to that event. You're inviting them with something of value. You're not even mentioning real estate. How many touches would you get for an event like that? Well, call. You might send an email invite. You make a phone call. You might send a postcard in the mail. You might do a social post. Okay. And then they get a reminder email right before the event. So that's 5. And then when they're at the event, you get to say hi to them in person. That's 6, right? And then after the event, you post up pictures and tag them in it. That's 7. And then you send them a handwritten personal note thanking them for coming. That's 8. 8 per event, 8 touches. And they're all around inviting them to something they would get value from. 8, 16, 24, 32. That's 32 touches over the year if you did 1 a quarter. And you might be thinking, I don't have much money to do an event. It doesn't have to be some big event. Think of something that doesn't cost anything. Or even better yet, talk to an alliance partner, a vendor, a closing attorney. Talk to somebody that will contribute and help out. And I'm telling you, if you ask, they will. Ask them, come up with the event. There's 32 of your touches. Add in the other touches. It could be your neighborhood nurture plan. There's 12 more. Now we're up to 44. And then it could be your monthly newsletter. Now we're up to 56. See what I mean?
So Aubrey, how did you make peace with the kind of the fact that this is such a long game sometimes, right? We do all that stuff and then nothing pops out, right? And we do open houses after open houses and everyone's not ready to take action, right? How did you process that in your mind? Was it a combination of like, just continuing to follow the model or having faith in the process? Like, how did you come out of that with a smile on your face?
Good question, Bill. So I knew and I trusted in the systems and the models and consistency. So I calculated up what I needed to do, and I knew if I did it consistently every single day, everything else would work out. So were there weeks that went by where I wouldn't have any traction? Yeah. Was it discouraging? You better believe it. And yet I was committed to doing the stuff I needed to do. So it's every single day, making the phone calls, touching base, building my business, sending the emails, putting together the events, handwriting the notes, following up afterwards. It was just doing it, and everything else fell in. If I needed right now business, then I would do more than one strategy. The sphere and referral is a longer strategy. You don't know who, and it's not necessarily them, by the way. It's who they know. You want them thinking of you when their friend says they want to buy or sell, not just them. Okay. Right. But if I needed like right now business, right? If I was actively selling real estate right now, I would pull up. I would do a couple things. I would look up for all the for sale by owners, and I would use Keller offers, and I would say, hey, I'd love to bring you an offer on your property. When can we get together? Or I just show up at the property and say, I'd love to bring you an offer on your home. This is Kathy with Keller Williams Realty. I'd love to bring you an offer. And if they're a for sale by owner, they're going to say, well, I'm not paying a commission. Right. And you say, that's okay. The investor pays a commission. Well, what's the offer going to be? Depends on the property. I haven't seen it yet. Let's take a look. I would create some ads for the home swap program or do something similar. Now there's prospecting and marketing. So the first one is prospecting. You're physically talking with somebody. I would pull up a list of people that are notice of default. So they're behind on their mortgages and they're about to get foreclosed on. And I would reach out to them in a very, very empathetic, warm and friendly manner. And I would tell them they have options, that don't let them get pushed into foreclosure. They have different options, they could do a loan modification, they could do mortgage forbearance. There's lots of different things they can do. One of them's selling the home, but that's not their only option. What'll happen when you do that is you're finding a very motivated seller that needs to do something quickly. And if you're coming from a place of contribution saying, hey, yes, I'm a realtor and one of the options is selling, let's explore these other ones first, they're almost caught off guard because most people are pushing, hey, sell your home. I'm telling you, helping people in a tough spot, they love you for it. So if I was looking for right now business, I would be leveraging Keller offers with for sale by owners and expireds. And I would be pulling up notice of default lists. People are behind their mortgage and going to help them put together a little package of here are your options as a seller who's having, financial troubles right now. Here's how to get past them, and be that person and do the touches to the sphere.
Aubrey, can you talk, thank you. Can you talk just about, I noticed this for years as an agent and of course noticed it in leadership too, is a lot of agents don't quite understand how much opportunity Keller Williams offers, whether it be equity opportunities, profit share, team building, maps, international stuff. Like, can you just talk about what kind of exposure you've had on kind of the big stage and what that's meant for you and your family and how it could impact others as well?
Yeah, happy to. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, there's something called an opportunity map with Keller Williams, and it shows all the different places that you can go inside of Keller Williams. So for example, right now I'm a team leader. I'm a investor in 3 different offices. I'm an operating partner. I still have a production team, by the way. Haven't stepped foot, talked to a seller or buyer in 7 years. I gave them my database. So if you're looking for like an exit plan, you can actually do that in this business. Hand your database to somebody, have an agreement, and you get a certain percentage of all those deals. That still provides a 6-figure income, right, every year. And I'm not talking to buyers or sellers anymore. I just gave them my database because I'd worked hard to build it, right? That's an exit plan. So I have the team, and right now I'm in the middle of being a MAPS coach. I'm on a call every Thursday to be a MAPS coach. So when you succeed and do well in this company, they ask you to share your story. So I've had the privilege to be asked to be on stage at Mega Camp, Family Reunion, the Masterminds, numerous times, and share my story. When that happens, people start calling you and giving you more opportunities. So there's more opportunities that will come your way when you show up than you'll be able to handle if you do things the right way.
Awesome. Who else has some questions for Aubrey? Come on.
Hey, Aubrey, when you first started out, were you ever at a point where you were discouraged, and how did you get past that?
Yeah, Donna, good question. That especially happens when in the beginning, like here, let me grab this real quick. I know you can't see me. Hang on a second. Okay, so let's say that here. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see the piece of paper?
Yeah.
When this happened was, let's say this is what you need to your standard of living. Like that's the money you need to live off of every month. And I'm just gonna make a number up. Let's say it's, $7,500. You need $7,500 every month to pay your mortgage, pay your car payment, pay your credit card bills, pay your utilities. Like everything you have to do is $7,500. Where it got stressful is if, let's say, the sales were only 10 to 15 a year, then it's like, okay, let me use a different color. It would be something like this. This month I'm doing great. Next month I can't pay my bills. This month I'm doing great. Next month I can't pay my bills. And it's like any time that I was in this section down here where I didn't have enough money, I was stressed out. And then it's like the next month, all of a sudden I have 2 or 3 closings. I'm like, oh, some breathing room. And then the next month, oh, I don't have anything else in my pipeline. It's gonna be another month or 2 before closing. Yeah, so there were some ups and downs. That's why I would highly recommend raising your thermometer on what's acceptable for you. When this gets okay, when this gets comfortable where you're not stressed out, is when your income line is up here. When your income line is up there, now you have a gap, a good gap. Now your gap is between here and here. And even on a low month, you've still got, like, let's say this month, now you have 10,000 more than you need. This month, you still have 5,000 more than you need. This month you have 11,000 more than you need, right? That's when it gets easier. You see what I mean? So that's what happened. So in the beginning, the first year or two, yeah, it was stressful because I left, some consistent income to go with some inconsistent income. And I had to do the activities every single day that would ensure that I had more than what I needed. Were there a couple months where I went into the negative in the beginning? Yeah, but then it'd be very positive a couple months later. And after a year or two, there were never any times where I didn't have enough because I planned properly. When you get to the end of the year and you make 100 grand, don't change your lifestyle yet. Keep your lifestyle the same until you're making substantially more than you need to on a consistent basis. Then the stress will go away.
Yeah. That's a great question. What else, guys?
I have another question.
All
How
right.
did you deal with those folks in your sphere who chose to work with someone other than you? People who you thought were kind of a slam dunk, but it
That never
that
happened.
wasn't the case.
Right.
Wait, has that ever happened to you, Aubrey?
No, never, Bill. It absolutely
Never
happened.
happened to me.
Yeah, it absolutely happened. So I share this a lot. It's not our job. Everybody knows 5 agents. Everybody knows 5 agents. What we want is we want them, when they think of real estate, to think of Donna or Darlene or Ebony or Corey or Jenny or any of you on this call, right? We want them to think of you. We want them to see you as the professional that they want to work with. So when somebody did use if it hadn't happened yet, it'll happen to you. You'll be at a get together or a dinner or something, and you'll ask, hey, so what's new with you guys? And they'll say, we just bought a house, and you're like, congratulations. and inside you're like, oh, that hurts. What I came to accept is I can't be mad at them. I have to be disappointed in myself for not being in front of them often enough and showing up as a professional often enough where they thought of me. All it means is I didn't stay in front of them enough with enough value where they would have felt guilty using somebody else. And you can quantify value. You can quantify how to become that real estate person of choice for them on the powerful touches you make without being pushy. So did it happen? Yeah. Did it happen with people that were close to me? Yeah, it did, you know? But it's okay. I was never upset with them. I always looked internally and said, how can I be better? What can I do differently so that to minimize that? Is it going to go completely away? No, it's not, you know, but I can definitely minimize it.
Nice. Okay,
Thank
Ebony,
you.
you got like 6 questions in your head. Just ask one of them now.
Okay. So, like, and I think piggybacking off of what you were talking about yesterday, Bill, we were in the class with Andy, and as a new agent, like, I love Keller Williams, and I feel that the platform that Keller Williams provides, it gives us so much training, it does so much, but as a new agent, it's so much that it's overwhelming to whereas we can possibly shut down because we don't. I'll speak for myself. I feel like it's so much knowledge that I'm getting that I don't have enough time to implement it because I'm consistently trying to learn new things. And right now I have like maybe 6 notebooks full of work and I would love to get it to work, but it's just always so much that I don't know which direction to start in or which works best for me, because by the time I think, oh, maybe that's it, then I log into another class and it's like 6 other things. And it's just like, oh, well, let me see if that works. To whereas it's like I'm running in a circle and it's a non-cipher divine. So I just feel like it's overwhelming for a new agent. And I know that you and Bill, you've been in the business for a really, really long time. How do you scale back on it? How do you like zero in on, okay, this is what I should be doing when Keller Williams offers a lot? Like, I love it, but it is a lot.
It is. Love that question too, Ebony. Great question. If I can promise you this, other agents are thinking the same thing, whether they're saying that or not. So one of the things we're in the middle of doing is revamping the onboarding process for agents and giving them complete clarity of the step-by-step process over what they need to do, rather than handing like this, font for 148, point thing saying, go knock all this out. It's going to be more like, here's the main rocks, your big rocks to do first. It's very easy to get distracted. You're coming into a new business, right? And this is not a business that can be learned overnight, in a month, in 6 months, a year, or even 5 years. Like, you're always going to learn and adapt. So it's very easy to see all these classes and get so overwhelmed. Like, oh, I heard that was really good, I should take that. And there's 2 more classes on this today. And here are my notes and I need to implement. It's like, stop, right? What is the most important thing, the foundational pieces I need to work on first? And for a new agent, it's going to be Ignite. And would you agree people learn at different rates and in different ways? Some people, they got it. Some people, I talked to some people that hopped in, they took Bold, they took Ignite, they took all this other stuff right away. And they're like, oh, I loved it. And I'll talk to the same person or different person, same time, that did the same thing. They're like, I was so overwhelmed. I felt lost. And so what I would say is foundational pieces, Ignite, take it 2 or 3 times till you feel like you got it. Don't take anything else. Don't take anything else until you have Ignite down pat. Those foundational pieces you understand, you implemented everything in there, right? Now that you're out of Ignite, now go into 36-12-3, okay? And then in 36-12-3, is there any way you're going to get that the first time through? No, there's no way. You're going to have to take that 2 or 3 times. Does that mean you're not doing any transactions during that time? No, doesn't mean that at all. In fact, you are. Part of Ignite is you have homework every single week. You're doing activities every single week. You are generating business. So during those times, you're getting business, and feel comfortable knowing that it's okay not to know it all. There's going to be people that are going to help you with what you need. So Ignite, 36-12-3, then you pick what you want to specialize in, whatever that is for you. Could be farming, could be whatever it is for you. Pick your niche and then go heavy on that niche and only attend the things that are in alignment with what matches your goals. In other words, create a plan for what you need to learn this year. Put in what you need to take in order to achieve those goals of learning, and don't take anything else. Just stick with the plan.
Yeah. What
I got a question.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I got a question.
Go for it,
Yeah,
buddy.
I follow over everything she said. I like it too much, and I'm so happy to be working with Keller Williams because I got too many training, and every day I'm trying to improve myself about everything. But I got an issue. Actually, I'm working with two buyers. Okay, now I got a big problem. The issue is all the houses I'm sending to my buyers, but they say when we went to your website, Keller Williams website, we found a beautiful house, the same price. But why you cannot show us the houses we can see in your website? Because they're going to my page, my website page, and they're trying to find the same amount. Because I got one client, she got $210,000, and the other one $180,000 for buying house for mortgage. But when they go to my website, they got that issue. Anytime they send me pictures, and last time I went to my website myself to see the pictures. I said, oh, they're right. They got a beautiful house. But normally, when I'm working with FMLS and Georgia MLS, I don't see those houses. I don't see them. And all kind of those houses is really higher, the price. Okay, how can we face this situation? Because I got that situation. I like the job. I think next year I'm gonna find too many people listing and the buyers. I'm gonna find too many, I'm sure. But how can we face it? It is very, very important. We need to our buyers and seller, our buyers to find the same listing everywhere. It's gonna be good things for us. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, good question. The big joke with Zillow for a long time has been if you want inaccurate data, go to Zillow. They'll sell leads on properties that are already under contract where the data's wrong, everything's off. So they'll send you properties that aren't right. And like you pull it up in the MLS and you're like, here's what the real information is. And they're like, well, why does it say something different on Zillow and sites like that? The reason it does that is Zillow is not in the business of selling houses. They're in the business of selling leads. That's what they've been doing for years, is selling leads. Now that's changing a little bit because now they got into the iBuyer world, right? However, they're still the majority of their profits come from selling leads to other agents. So they don't have a vested interest in giving completely accurate data. Why? Because even if that house is already under contract or the price is different, they now have a lead they can sell to an agent. So your site is tied to the MLS. That should be the most accurate place to get information. If it's not, then something else is going on. A setting, maybe if they have a search set up, they're showing you properties that are higher price point, or they told you no unfinished basements, and now they're searching properties and showing you now they want unfinished basements. Like that kind of stuff happens. So we'd have to dig a little deeper, Mike, into what's going on, but that would be my answer for that.
Cool. I know we're pretty much right at 1 or a few minutes past.
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time. You're breaking up there, Mike. You're breaking up. Maybe if you're not driving, type your question into the chat, perhaps, and we're having trouble hearing you.
You can turn off if you turn off the video, Mike, sometimes the connection will be better.
Okay, try again.
You can't hear me?
A little better.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, a little better. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I understand everything you said, Aubrey, but my concern was about Keller Williams houses advertising in the website. Buyers, they go in, because if I find a buyer or a lead, a contact, I send them straight to my website. And I ask them to check all the houses they want in the website and to let me know. It's what the client they're trying to do. But when they go to the website, they saw too many kind of houses. They say, okay, we need this house. But when I try to check our website, I can see the house and the client website, but I need to find the same house. That's
you,
why
Mike.
my concern is.
I got you. Here's what I recommend doing. I'd recommend the next time that happens, coming in, sitting down with Bill and running a search and showing him what's going on. The KW site feeds directly from the MLS. For forever, Zillow has not. So if it's not showing up on the Keller Williams site, something else is going on. And it's not that the Keller Williams site is inaccurate. It's probably something to do with the search criteria that your buyers plugged in on the Keller Williams site versus what they plugged in on whatever other site they're looking at. I would say take that offline, sit down with Bill, and he can show you what's happening there.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Agreed. All right, I know we're right at our time. Aubrey, why don't you wrap us up with some inspiration? We got some people that got big dreams. They got a real estate license because they want to be empire builders, right? They want to have an awesome quality of life. Send us home with some inspiration.
Yeah, I'll share part of what I shared this morning at our huddle. And before I mention that, I would say this. I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. And the thing that I found out with pretty much everybody is even if you have a great personality for real estate, that's actually not the deciding factor. There's been some people that are very introverted that do really, really well in real estate. You don't have to be like the center of attention, type person at all to succeed. What you need is ambition and drive. When your why is big enough, the how will show up. Okay. So what this means is when you're thinking about where you want to go and what you're capable of, the limits that we have will exist wherever we place them. The limits we have will exist wherever the limits in our mind over what we believe we can do will exist wherever we place them. So why not choose to place them behind you, right? Place them behind you. Because that greatness within you, you're the architect. You have this pen in your hand. You get to write your story. Make it a great story and start today.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you for taking your time today to visit with us. You did a great job. You behaved the whole time. You're welcome back anytime. From this group, we are very grateful for your leadership and for your inspiration, and enjoy being in business with you. So thank you again for everything.
You're very welcome, guys. Thank you. Very grateful for all of you.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Thank you.